Before we get started, I do want to mention that there's a video version of this podcast available to view over on my YouTube channel. The extra little sound effects might make a little more sense, as well as some of the visual inputs, and it will also give you an idea of what the hell I'm talking about. So I highly recommend that you head on over to YouTube and watch there. There's also a ton of other videos that I've made over the past year involving coffee, food, experiences, and travel, as well as the full part 1 to this cottage stay. If you can find it in your hearts, I would be forever grateful if you would subscribe to both the podcast, but most importantly to my YouTube channel. Give the video a like because it really helps out my channel's growth, and the end goal is to have all of this living within the same ecosystem. I'll pop the link in the show notes. Taking an order, prepping food, restocking, checking on customers, the list goes on and on and on and on. Your mind draws a blank with only the tasks at hand. Initiate, prep, say hello, check on your tables, prep some butters, restock the drinks fridge, clear dishes away, jump on the coffees to help out during a rush. Do we need a new brew on? Does table 2 have waters? Shit, there's a foretop that hasn't been seen yet. Is that table set? Fuck, don't forget to smile. Who has the time to sit in your head with all of this going on? It's brilliant. It's beautiful. It's the white noise of a busy mind. There's something so natural about spilling your guts out in the grime of a kitchen while you're finishing up the final garnishes at the pass-off and there's some dubstep playing on the stereo. Hey Bimbos, welcome back to another episode of Hospo Bimbo. I am your host Cassie, and I am here at the beautiful Vineyard Cottages. I've got a fire behind me that's about to go out. It's fine. What's Vineyard Cottages, you ask? Well, it's a little slice of heaven located in Cummu, which is only about a 35-minute drive from Auckland, depending on where you are. I think it took me about 28 minutes to get from my house in Henderson Valley. The property in of itself is a whole other ball game. It's just like farmland and rolling hills and vineyards and sheep and cows and flowers, and it's very beautiful. The cottage is a whole nother level. It's literally like the cottage that Princess Aurora from Sleeping Beauty was brought up by her 3 fairy godmothers. Like, that's this cottage right here.
And Flora, Fauna, Merryweather.
The kitchen door has one of the, I don't know what it's called, but it has one of those top things where you can push open and like sing out to the forest animals, you know? I watch a lot of Disney. So it's just amazing. It's really, really beautiful. I feel like I want to like churn some butter here. I feel like I want to milk a cow, maybe wear an apron, be domestic. I don't know. Like, these are the feelings that are coming up being here. And you might be asking why I'm here. Well, number one, I just wanted to get out of the house. My mentality has been in the absolute shitter. Needed to get away for some sort of little staycation. And I found this place on Airbnb. I didn't book through Airbnb. I just booked directly from the property. It's a bit expensive, but very much worth the money. It's beautiful. I'm so glad that I came here. As quoted from their website, the plot of land where Vineyard Cottages sits once belonged to Auckland businessman Alan Taylor. Taylor purchased 1,000 acres, who was a keen hunter and well known for his social events. He also built a property that went on to be the Hunting Lodge restaurant, which, by the way, the Hunting Lodge is literally right over there. You just walk up the hill, go through a gate, shut the gate so the critters don't get out, and you are at the Hunting Lodge. It was originally built by New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc pioneer Bill Spence and his wife Eileen, and the property was part of the block of land Bill and his brother Ross established as Matua Vineyards. Today, Vineyard Cottages is a popular destination for those wanting to have an Auckland staycation, which is me, romantic night away, also me, or attending local weddings. Not me. I am here alone. Like I said, a bit of a staycation situation. It's been really nice because I don't have cell phone service. While I do have Wi-Fi, I've put some things up on my Instagram. But for the most part, I just wanted to come here and just mess around with my camera, record a podcast, sleep, eat some yummy cheese, a bottle of wine, and read a book. And that's pretty much what I've done since I've arrived. I kind of haven't left this abode, which why would you? When I got here, there was breakfast sitting on the table waiting for me. It was amazing. 2 days worth. It had fresh bread, fruit, muesli, some other cereal, yogurt, bananas, just yummy stuff. And then today they came around and brought me a cheese platter that looked way too bougie for me. And also I nearly cried because they brought the cheese platter over. And then I was just freaking out about the cheese platter, number one. And then about 15 minutes later, they came by again and brought fresh scones or scones, depending on where you are in the world, with fresh cream and jam. I've talked a couple of times on this podcast about how I deal with people doing things for me. And while I get that it's part of the package that I paid for, it was still part of that whole surprise and delight aspect. And I was blown away. I honestly cried I did. Maybe it's because of my mental health right now. I don't know. But it's been such a nice extravaganza being here. So my first night on the Friday, I came in I wanted to see what the kitchen situation was. I wasn't sure if I was going to go out for dinner or if I wanted to cook something, but I didn't know what was going to be here. Luckily, there was some pots and pans, so I was like, okay, great, I'm going to go to New World. And I went to the New World in QMU, and I don't know what's going on over in this part of Auckland, but the QMU New World is the most bougie New World I've ever been to. It's small, but there was things in there that I have never seen before. I was just blown away, and I bought far too much. I went full ham in there. I had no reason to be in there, and I think I spent $120. So I got a bottle of wine. You know, I'm not going to bore you guys with what I got from the New World, but it just had to be said. I was anticipating going out for dinner tonight to maybe go to the hunting lodge because I've always wanted to go, and I thought maybe I could do a sneaky sneak and do some recording in there. But I looked at the menu and already spent quite a lot of money coming here. I can't afford to go to the hunting lodge as much as I would love to because it looks like a very interesting experience, but I can't do it. Not this time. But anyway, I wanted to touch base because it's been a really long time since I've uploaded a podcast. And I have been thinking long and hard, and I know I've said this in the last episode, but I really would like to get back into the flow of consistently making this thing. So I actually did something that in my head I was like, okay, this is just going to solidify everything. This is going to make you take this shit seriously. And that is I made some business cards. They're not as flash as I wanted them to be. You know, it's my first round, so I'm excited. I have really been having some fun with my cameras and just messing around, trying to get the hang of that. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to check out my YouTube channel. It's not necessarily full Hospo Bimbo. I kind of want Hospo Bimbo to be this sort of umbrella that caters to hospitality, the podcast obviously, but also holds hands with traveling because that's also a very, very big part of my life and always has been. So much of my YouTube channel is vlogs. I hate that word vlogs. It just sounds so I'm a vlogger. Take my photo. I just really like storytelling. I also have come into this part of my life where I just want to start romanticizing my life a little bit, just making shit more meaningful. And I think as COVID and, the world stopped for the last couple of years, now longer than a couple of years, there's not a lot of exciting things happening. So I've had to try and think of small things to get excited about or things to look forward to, and hence trips like this to just go away for a weekend. I'm learning now. I wish I would have had this realization honestly when I was in high school, because I'm sure It would have made my life a lot easier, but then again, I probably wouldn't be in New Zealand. So I'm discovering that I have a true hardcore obsession and passion for learning about video, audio, synchronizing them, editing, just the whole entire process, because I love everything about storytelling. Wow. Why is that camera blinking at me? Couldn't tell you. But there's so much that I have to learn, right? Like even just recording this podcast. I don't know if I'm actually going to upload this to YouTube or what I'm going to do with this. I might just do segments. Like that camera is about to run out of battery, or maybe it's, is it battery? No, I think that camera is actually running out of space on the memory card. Yep, great. What does that say? No space on the memory card. Okay, great. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about my trip to the States and what that entailed, just food-wise and beverage-wise. When I very first got into California, I met my mom and we went to Disneyland. It's a funny thing between me and my mom. We've gone to Disneyland a couple of times when I was a kid, and it's just, I highly recommend going to Disneyland or Universal Studios or just something like that with your parents as an adult, because it's somehow a lot better. I don't know. Like, I just had so much fun, and she had so much fun. We were just like little kids again. And that's what I love about my mom, is that we can just be living out our childhood right now. When we were there, we ate a lot of shitty food for sure. But there's one thing I would like to give an honorable mention that I did talk about in my Disney vlog, which is this Mickey-shaped macaron. I don't know what sort of satanic witchcraft recipes they put in that, but I have not been able to stop thinking about it since that day. It was like a raspberry, it was shaped like a Mickey or a Minnie. It had some sort of cream stuff in it, like the filling that goes into the, I don't know how to explain it, but then fresh raspberries. It was amazing. It was fucking delicious. Didn't get the turkey leg, but did see a lot of people walking around with a turkey leg, and I was like, wow, that is just a sight to see. Like, who came up with the idea when they were thinking of snacks to bring into the Disneyland resort? They were like, you know what? Turkey legs. I think we should go with a turkey leg for sure. And then people sitting around like a big writer's table is what I imagine it, and you've got Bob over there that's like, do you mean like chicken tenders or something like a deep fried? No. Like a whole big ass turkey leg. Yeah. And then Bob's like, do they get utensils or something? No, they just carry it around with their hand and then just like gnawing on it through the park. And they're like, oh, well, surely we'll give them a place to sit so they can eat that. Cause that's, no. They walk around the park with it while they're eating it. Yeah. People are in the Splash Mountain line and they're eating that turkey leg for sure. That's why there's bins everywhere. Just dispose of the carcass afterwards. Jesus Christ. We had a lot of pizza, pasta, just a lot of carbs, like carbs overload. And I was working out quite heavily before I went on that trip. And I gained all of the weight that I lost back, like probably within the first few days. So I'm not ashamed of it. On another note, this is going to sound very strange, but the tacos that I had in Disneyland, because they were doing a food and wine festival at California Adventure, which is the park right across from Disneyland. Let me just say, so they did these burrito tacos, and the reason I found them is because I was following some Disneyland vloggers who were trying all the new food there, and I was seeing these all over YouTube, and they looked fucking insane. And so Mom and I went there, I think the first day, and we got the burrito tacos and tried it, and I was like, I swear to God, I've never that was probably my last meal, to be honest. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with that. Top of my fucking list. So if anyone knows of anywhere in Auckland that does a really good burrito taco, please send me a DM because I need to know right now. Had a lot of good Mexican food, like good authentic Mexican food, and bless you, New Zealand, but y'all don't know how to do it, okay? Sorry, but no. Actually, speaking of Mexican food, there's a pretty good place in Tiaratu called Salito Lindo, and it's just like this really small hole in the wall. It's like in an industrial area. It's just on the side of the road, and that's probably like the closest thing that I've had to really good Mexican food, like authentic Mexican food. From California, we went back up to Washington to visit some of my family, see my grandpa, my uncle.
Morning!
God.
My grandma.
One 3.5-ounce jar of brined capers, and I read it as 1.35-ounce jar of brained capers. How do you brain a caper?
And had some really great coffee there. And then we went to North Carolina. I went to a couple really cool diners while I was there. I did, again, a couple little shorts on, I think maybe I've only done one, on the Shiny Diner, which is on there. I talk about it all the time. That's like Hospo Bimbo originated in a diner. Just going back to diners, and especially like once it's dark, once it's nighttime, and going to a diner and having breakfast and having a coffee, it's so freaking beautiful. I love it. I miss it so much. I miss being able to just have coffee, to go to a cafe and have a coffee at like 7:00, you know? So that was really good to get the chance to do that. But now that I'm back in New Zealand, I really need to start figuring out, you know, is the Hospo Bimbo podcast just a one season thing and then it's done? Or is it something where I potentially want to like take a break from and then come back? Or do I want to incorporate it somehow into, you know, YouTube? Unfortunately, I think I'm really bad at time management, number one, which probably isn't like the best for what I'm doing, but this does take so much time, even just to record it, to edit it, to get it published. And then, you know, YouTube is a whole different monster in of itself. And don't get me wrong, I love it. But I think that's been sort of my issue, is that I just don't have the time to do all of that. I wish more than anything that I could somehow financially just have like, well, number one, I wish I just didn't have to work, period. I wish I could just be like doing this. But if I had a job that was like part-time or just not so like mentally demanding, that would free up more time. And I know that people will be like, there's an excuse for everything. And I fully get that. But then at the same time, like, I'm also trying to be healthy and go to the gym and work out and do all that sort of shit. So once you've got your 9 hours working, then by the time you get home, by the time you've gone to the gym and all that, it's a lot. So I'm trying to just sort of reorganize my life and figure out what that looks like. And then I want to get back onto recording. But now that I have my business cards in my head, I was like, well, I just need a business card. I need some sort of physical memento that I can go in and leave something with somebody. My problem is that I'm fucking shy. I'm an introvert, extrovert 1000%. And it's really hard for me to cold call people in a sense. Like there's people that I really want to interview and get on the show, but then there's also like the self-doubt that's in my head that's just like, you're garbage, you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna get them on the show and fuck it up, you know? That's just, it's like a constant thing that I'm trying to just shut off, and I'm trying to just go with the flow. And I think that's part of the reason why I just want to keep like practicing. Actually, one of the books I'm reading, which I know that I'm all over the place right now, but I love self-improvement books, and I promise this is I'm not trying to be like a guru fucking self-help podcast, but Atomic Habits is a really, really good book that talks about just making good habits to eventually lead to the bigger picture, and it's by doing daily small things to get you there. Even like with reading these books, that can sometimes be detrimental because you get stuck in this process, in this habit of constantly reading about the things that you need to do to get you to that position, but that you never actually take action. So I just need to shut the fuck up and take some action. I think that's kind of where sometimes having a co-host is really good, because then you can kind of bounce off of each other and you have, you know, another person there. Just makes it a little bit easier. But I mean, in a perfect world though, I would have a videographer that would go around everywhere with me. I would have an editor for the podcast and an editor for the YouTube channel. It's just a lot that I obviously needed to just word vomit out. Dear diary. I've got 250 business cards printed sitting in a box in my car. That was the least amount I could get, which was great because when I got them and they were like fucked up, I was like, well, nope, I guess I'm stuck with these. I think I just want to keep growing and learning and just keep improving. But with that, I need to practice. So if you guys have anyone that you think would be a great person to chat to on the podcast, please let me know. You can send me an email at hospobimbo@gmail.com, or you can send me a DM on the gram. But I do have a few people that I have been thinking of that I really would like to get on the show, and I just need to put my big girl pants on and just go in there and be like, hey, there's a place that the owners I really want to chat to. I want to get them on the podcast, and I keep going in there. But I go in there because I like what they serve, so I go in there constantly and just get stuff. And I've got the business cards in my back pocket, like ready to hand them over. So I'm like going through the ordering process, ordering the coffee, ordering the donut. And then like right before I'm about to, I'm like, there's just this like voice in my head that's like, you're a fucking idiot, just leave. And then I'm just out. But hey, it's going to happen soon. Anyway, so I'm actually going to go. I'm going to keep this really short and sweet. And I'm just going to finish up this beautiful stay. I highly encourage you, if you have not already this year, to plan a trip. Doesn't necessarily need to be something extravagant and like overseas or whatever, but just plan a weekend away, like book an Airbnb, something like this. Like just book something for yourself and just go away for a weekend. Shut off your phone, read a book, cook some food, and just chill out. I think a lot of us really need that right now. Probably well overdue. To be honest, I wish this was like a 2-week long thing because I feel like that's what I need. But yeah, I think it's just really important to make sure that you are spending time by yourself. And you know, it's crazy how much work we put into the relationships of other people around us, but we're not really nurturing the one with ourselves. And that's something that I really am trying to come to terms with and ensure that I'm taking care of myself, both physically and mentally. So I hope you do the same. And I'm sorry if this got a little too deep, a little too woo-woo, you know. Speaking of woo, I haven't even talked about my time in Joshua Tree, tell you what. But the people I have told about Joshua Tree, everyone's like, okay, so you were definitely doing mushrooms. No, I was completely sober and just had a full-on spiritual awakening of sorts. But that's okay because I can't wait to get back to Joshua Tree. In fact, I booked an Airbnb a year from now. Well, now it's a little less than a year. But for May of next year, because I wanted to make a commitment to myself and a promise that I'm going to do whatever it takes and ensure that I'm back in America during that time. I would like to be back sooner, but even if that doesn't happen, at least I have that trip booked. So even if you can like book something that's like a year from now or 6 months from now, just get it in the cards, get it on the books so that it's done, it's dusted. You've paid for it. It's in your calendar. You're going. And now you have something to look forward to. I don't know about you guys, but I consistently need something to look forward to, or else you just feel extremely heavy with the weight of the world, especially all the fucking bullshit that's going on just constantly. It's just never ending. I think as long as you can create little things, even in your day-to-day, that you look forward to, that gives you a little bit of meaning, a little bit of sense of purpose and reward, I would highly recommend doing that. So book a trip, watch a Disney movie, watch a Pixar movie, watch Soul if you haven't watched that movie. That's a damn good movie. Eat some good food. Don't forget to message me if you know of a good burrito taco. I would love to hear about it. And I hope that I am having some content for you guys of getting somebody on the show once I can grow the balls.